Hey guys, so today we're doing another episode of Book of the Month, and I'm Matt, and I'm here alongside
Tara.
So, some of you guys are watching this on video, some of you guys are actually listening to this through our Patreon. Either way, thank you all so much. What's interesting is that you guys might notice if you guys are watching, not only am I not with Tristan, because usually we do these episodes with Tristan, we'll do like Dragon Ball stuff or Star Wars stuff. In this case, we're actually talking about My Hero Academia Volume 1, which we actually have in front of us right here, and I'm not at my house, which is also new, because usually it's a split screen, like different, so yeah, I mean, we could just split screen it, but you wouldn't see all this cool merch that Tara has either been gifted by friends and family, I'm assuming family, or they don't support your, Bakugo habit?
My mom likes Full Metal Alchemist a lot.
That's awesome, but they don't support your Bakugo habit?
We'll see this Christmas.
We'll see what happens. So, but it's really cool because I didn't even know you had some of this stuff, because last time I saw you, maybe you had one of these, perhaps?
I had Deku.
Yeah.
And the pillows.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't remember the pillows. That's the interesting thing. So, like, seeing all this here, it's actually really cool, the way, you know how to set up a shot, Tara. And also your shirt too. That's my favorite. So if you guys are listening to this, you have a shirt with, let's see, 9 characters on it. No, if they're listening to it, they still can't see you. But you're
counting.
Well, that's true. 9. But where'd you get that shirt?
I got it from Hot Topic.
Oh, okay. So then they've stepped up their merch.
Yeah. This one was like one of the more expensive ones for a reason.
But still, either way, talking about the volume itself, you and I had to kind of, because I've never read it before, but of course, if you guys have been following us with those guys on the radio, you and I have talked about at least one season so far, because I don't know when this is coming out compared to the podcast, but what I do know is you and I have covered one, or maybe more, seasons of My Hero Academia. So I've never read it, so I wanted to go back and do that and see like what was different, maybe if it was a carbon copy, because sometimes it happens, but usually, back in the old days, there was a lot of filler. You're watching Naruto now, and you know about that filler.
I'm skipping all of it.
Just skip, yeah, exactly, like skip all the filler. But that's how things just used to be. So knowing that they cut down as much filler as they could, and I wanted to see how it was paced compared to the anime. And you were rereading it because it's been so long for you. You know it like the back of your hand, but you want to pick up a few little subtle things.
Yeah.
So, compared to the first season of the anime, do you think it was better, worse, like different interpretation? Like where do you stand on that?
I wouldn't say it's like better or worse, but I think it's the original, so I appreciate a lot more than like the anime. Not that I don't appreciate it. But
normally I would say something like, oh no, the manga's better. But for some reason in this case, I think it's just because of how much attention the animation studio put into this anime. Where, I mean, I get it that obviously there's deadlines that the author has to make and the editors do as well. They have to put out 20 pages or more per week. So I get it. But having every character with beautiful backgrounds in many different shots, like during the training where like you have Bakugo and you have Deku going at it, and seeing all these different characters, and even not just having certain characters like the principal and others foreshadowed, actually seeing silhouettes of them, where in the manga you just see word bubbles and you don't really ever know, because it's such an ensemble cast, you end up not knowing who's talking. So, again, it's not necessarily against the author, because you're put under all this pressure and you have to do what you have to do to get the volume or get the issue out, get the chapter out each week. But I do appreciate that the anime does that, because I feel like, even though there is some stuff here that I think was better explained that I could swear wasn't in the anime, still, I do feel like they set up a shot really well. Where here it's mostly, when you do see a few students, it's a white background. So I couldn't tell you how the room that they were all in, how it even looked in the manga. But then seeing the anime, I'm like, oh, it's like high tech, kind of plain, but still very large, because it has to be accommodating to everybody. So I want to say that I appreciate certain things in the manga, in the anime more, but what I really do love in the manga are all the references. Like the silhouettes in the beginning where they had Spider-Man. You mentioned to me Wolverine. I don't know how I didn't get that one. I love Wolverine. But they had Ultraman and Kamen Rider, Superman as well. So I like that he's showing not just that he's going for U.S. heroes, but also Japanese heroes as well, which I do know enough about that I could be like, Tara, Japanese hero, and you're like, okay, buddy, yeah. But one thing that they didn't do in the anime, all of the references to how All Might is drawn differently than the rest of them.
So that's on once at least.
Maybe once, but in this one it happened a few different times. Oh, something I really liked that they didn't have here, and they have more in the anime. Mineta not making as many perverted jokes, which is because, like, I'm not saying that it didn't happen in this volume,
Once.
but, well, actually a few times. The octopus one, you're right, yeah, once, actually, which it feels like looking at the anime, and maybe it gets more frequent as the manga goes on, but it feels as if once per episode he has to say something dumb. And it's like, maybe it's because I don't like his humor. I like his powers, actually. Like, his quirk, I don't have a problem with.
Like,
yeah, but his character, I'm kind of sitting here and I'm just really over it. So for me, I feel as if it's infrequent, like how infrequent it is in the manga so far. I'm really happy about that, honestly.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, it's mostly, like, Deku, All Might, and then, like, and Bakugo are, like, the main people in the beginning, in the first volume.
Right.
And Mineta gets, like, one little moment. Again, it's totally unnecessary.
Yes.
It's not necessary. You don't have to be like, octopus? Sexy. Like,
it wasn't even in the anime, if I remember correctly.
I don't recall, because I try to, like, filter all of that out of my mind. I try to forget that he exists.
That's fair. What I do like is, not with the first chapter, but with later chapters, they Horikoshi basically ends up making every single title page look like it's a U.S. comic book. And I really enjoy that, especially because it has the Shonen Jump logo. I think the older Jump logo there, so it just it's really cool. I mean, even the front cover themselves look like they're superhero volumes, and so, like, in the U.S. So I really enjoyed that as well. Anything in particular, if you wanna speed through anything that stuck out to you?
I'm just like, it's very nostalgic for me because, like, it's like, he looks like a baby, a lot of these.
Deku in particular?
Yeah. and like how we were mentioning before, like, it's like in the anime it's full fleshed out colors and stuff, and there's one in particular, if I can grab the book.
Of course.
And then, like, the very beginning when Deku, like, mentions, like, oh, I want to be a hero, that kind of stuff. And it's like right here, I'm not sure if they can see it, but it's right here, and he's like, in here it's just white lines, and he's smiling, and it's happy, but in the anime there's, like, cherry blossoms behind him, and it's, like, pure.
One thing that I found interesting, too, since you were around the part where Mount Lady appeared, because we talked about this personally, so let's just throw it out here right now, her booty. Well, because looking at the anime, they, like, were really just like, let's just focus on this butt shot. And then here, I love how Horikoshi is just like, actually, she also has a torso, and you can see her whole body. And I was like, oh, okay. Alright. But it's weirder, too, to me, honestly, again, because we're on the booty. The commercial, essentially, at the back of the... Well, because it's weird to me because, again, I've never read this, so I bought the first 5 volumes, super cheap, for $20. And I was like, oh, damn. I was actually really happy. And I didn't even look at the back. That's how much I can tell you I didn't read it. So I'm seeing this and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then literally while you're reading it, I'm like, alrighty then. But it's an ad. It says her beautiful shiny hair because
the bottles are also weirdly shaped.
Correctamundo. But because we find out later that because it's implied in this chapter, but you can definitely see it more later as the manga goes on. She is in it for the fame.
Absolutely.
Now, she's not the only person, so it's not like it's like just against her and like, oh, all the guys aren't, and then only she is. Like, no, there are other people as well. But at this point, we just see her as like a pro hero who's clearly just in it for the fame.
Yeah, and then Bakugo also mentions that he's gonna be really, really rich because he'll be a popular hero. It's like not uncommon.
Right, and then also, I mean, but to be fair, at least he's a kid. You know, speaking of something that legally I believe they can't show on television. We talked about this in the audio podcast for season 1. Legally on TV they can't show kids smoking. So, and I'm not talking about a U.S. thing. I'm even talking about a Japanese thing. But I guess in the manga, they're a bit more lax with that. So the kids were smoking, and Bakuro was like, no.
Don't fucking smoke.
No. In the anime, it was like, don't, like, because I think they were like, you want to go to the arcade with some girls? And it was like, I'm not going to slack off because, I want to be a pro hero. And they were just like, oh, okay.
Do your Bakuro voice startle for a second?
I mean, I could scream it out, but the camera would.
No, my cat.
Exactly. I don't want to. Yeah, no, I don't want to.
His baby.
I don't want to upset Edward. Edward, if at any point you want to get into the shot and get on the table, please, we would love to hang out with you.
He's jealous.
It's only when he's hungry.
No, he's just jealous because I'm doing this and not paying attention.
But yeah, so it's interesting just seeing some of those differences that legally they couldn't do. Heck, even like we mentioned earlier with the silhouettes, they would not have gotten away with showing a silhouette of Spider-Man on television. But usually with novels, at least, you can get away with references and things like that because it's like, well, it's not like we're profiting off of Spider-Man or we're profiting off of Superman or. They made some other references in here too.
Super Mario Bros.
Thank you, Super Mario Brothers.
The Thwomp.
Yes, exactly, the Thwomp. That was so funny. But in the anime, I think they couldn't pass it off as a parody because Gintama exists. I don't know if you know about Gintama. It's like a parody anime manga, and they parody stuff like this. They've probably done a My Hero parody because like it's a weekly anime, and they just have parodied every anime under the sun and manga. But I don't know if they could pass it off as parody, so they probably were like, let's just not. Also, it's something interesting too, you and I noticed this. Necks. Horikoshi, he has hands on lock, but necks, they're very long.
They are.
And I don't know why.
I didn't notice it until until that one page.
With
Deku.
Yes, I noticed it with All Might. Because there was this.
But he's a skeleton. Skeleton.
Skelly.
Skell.
Yeah, skull.
So
No,
it's okay.
that's true, but like his neck, I'm trying to find it. It'll probably be, if you're watching this, it'll be on screen separately. But yeah, no, his neck though was like really bad. And then yes, with Deku's when he's jacked. Like, how old is he supposed to be again? 14?
He's 14 and he's jacked.
Like you're not supposed to do that. But yeah, so this right here, his neck is just intense.
Where? Oh yeah, that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
That that's what you pointed it out. The only time that I saw it was like season 3's opening where they made Bakugo's neck like a turtleneck, and I was like annoyed, but I never saw it before that.
Yeah.
Oh, there too, right there.
Oh no, yeah, this right here. But then even the page before that is where I was just like, bro, what? Yeah, you see what I mean? Now that I pointed out to you, Sarah's just like, what is happening?
He's a giraffe.
Yeah, no.
I'm just so used to it because he's a skeleton. I'm like, okay, it's fine. But if anyone else has a long neck, it's not okay.
In the anime, they had it long enough. Like, it wasn't this, but it was pretty close. But for Deku, he did not have that long of a neck.
I'm just keep yawning. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's just the sound of my own voice. Would you like to talk about Uraraka's hair? Because that threw you off.
Yeah, so I kind of forgot, and I have read the manga before, so I didn't notice it because me. But her hair is like light in the manga, and they do have other characters' hair that are like a mid-tone color. Like Hiroshima's hair is a bright red, and in the manga, it's like a toned color. So you figure Uraraka would be the same thing having brown hair. But no, she has light hair. And now it really bothers me now that it was pointed out. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Now, as an actual review though, as we were comparing it, I think that it was a great first volume because it was a great way to showcase like Deku growing. Because I think there are a lot of anime, to be fair, that do start with, these characters growing, but what happens is, and granted, to be fair, towards the end of the volume, that's, where we see him kind of getting thrown into a harsh situation where he might get expelled from the academy. But it's nice that in the first volume, he isn't being thrown into anything deadly just yet. Like, they're trying to actually build up his time at this school.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be too lackadaisical, but you also, in my opinion, don't want to make him seem like he's Superman. where, granted, Superman had to learn his powers too, but still, with most modern iterations of Superman, he's Superman. So he's good.
Yeah.
Even someone like Goku now at this point, while he does fight against stronger people, he's still Goku. So it's nice to be able to see a story where, even though he's the main character and he's the hero, he still has a lot of growing to do. And I think that this manga did a great job of showing that growth, and really also showing and doing, I think, in some ways, even a better job than the anime, his relationship with Bakugo. And if you want to talk to us about your little baby gremlin child Bakugo for a bit, how did you feel about him in this volume in particular?
So I was like, again, reminded about what a horrible child he is in the beginning.
Yeah.
But as I was rereading it, I'm like, look, it's my baby gremlin horrible boy. I love him so much. He's terrible. So I'm very biased, but it is a reminder of how horrible he was. And also it's like, it's a parallel of growth that you do see. Like, Deku does become stronger and Bakugo becomes slightly less terrible.
Yes.
Very slightly.
Yeah, it's not even a weak thing. It's about being more open-minded. Like, it's weird. I'm not saying he would ever punch a teacher, but, like, he actually started being, like, calmer even with the teachers compared to some of his first times talking to, All Might and stuff like that. Something I want to mention, Tara, and this isn't to call you out, I'm just genuinely asking because
you can call me out, it's okay.
No. This is not something to call you out on. I know you watch other anime, you've watched like Hunter x Hunter, and you've watched Naruto, and some others. Do you read manga other than My Hero?
I tried reading, I think, Blue Exorcist.
Okay.
And I just I hyperfixate on like one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I bring it up is because I read a lot of different manga from different companies, and one thing that I've noticed over time that's kind of just a pet peeve is that they stop translating the sound effects, and what they'll do is they'll put like so you see flip right here, just a little tiny flip. It would be kept in Japanese, and then flip would be put underneath it. And I get that companies have to save time, and it costs a lot of money because basically with all these sound effects during white backgrounds. Oh no! Ida's falling.
Hold him.
You can hold Ida. It's fine. When it comes to some of these flap. Oh God, his arm! Jesus Christ, his arm! We're making a joke about that. I don't know if that's a good thing to say out loud. We're making a joke about this child's arm being broken.
It's fine.
Before we start. No, but anyway. So when you look at flap, it's like, oh, it's over a white background, so it's fine. But then you look at something like this, or even the way throb is written over this, they might have just in another company kept it the Japanese version and then put throb tiny little letters right next to it. So I appreciate the work that's done to kind of make you feel like you're in the moment with the manga, because for me it takes me out of it to see big kanji, just huge kanji, and then underneath it in little tiny letters what's actually supposed to
it's
be
like
there.
big giant character and you squint and it's like boom, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, exactly. So this bam right here would not have been there. It would have just been the Japanese and then asterisk bam in tiny
it's
letters.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, and again, I get it. It's what you have to do to get it out there. You're a smaller company. I understand it. But in this case, I'm happy because it just makes me feel like I'm really, I'm in it rather than just, silence, which is huge. And there's also so much work to be done in this. I give props to whoever lettered this, which is cool because we actually have that person credited in the beginning. It says touch up and lettering done by John Hunt. Like you, John. No, seriously, it's just, no, but I'm happy that because usually Shonen Jump, they put the work, I don't want to touch her butt. I'm slapping, I'm like, no, either way, please hold this. So I do enjoy the work that Shonen Jump puts into it. They're the ones that usually do it the most, and not knocking companies that don't, because again, I get it, but I really do appreciate that amount of work being put into this. I don't know what my next point is. You want to jump in with a point?
Let's talk about how the style is different in the manga than it is in the anime. Because
Right.
I have noticed that is specifically not so much. The only thing I could think of is Mountain Lady herself, because it was most obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But you do sort of notice it, especially in Uraraka. Like, I feel like the girls here are a little more chunky, and I appreciate that as
Yes.
I'm a little chunky.
Mm-hmm.
And Mount Lady here seemed a little more like on the thin side.
That was interesting.
And then it's just kind of generalized in the anime, which I understand because they need to like keep it together, which I understand. But at the same time, it's like toned down a lot.
Yeah. So I'm not saying this point to say that you're wrong, but it is interesting to see that happens with a lot of newer anime. I don't know if it's animation techniques nowadays, like even like looking at other. So you haven't seen any of Dragon Ball Z, right?
No, I haven't.
All right. I mentioned it because there's two characters, one called Yajirobe, one called Korner. Yajirobe is a fat samurai, and Korner is a fat cat who stands up on his two legs and he talks. So they've both become really skinny in newer versions of Dragon Ball Super. Well, the newest version of Dragon Ball Super. In that anime, they become super skinny. When they were animated in Dragon Ball Z in the 90s, they were big. They were like Korn was chunky, you know. So. And even looking at Pikachu, speaking of now an animal, Pikachu has gotten real skinny throughout the years.
He's round.
He was round, but now he's become like teeny tiny.
Round.
Yeah. So like I'm wondering if just general animation techniques for some reason I don't know if it made it's easy to like work wise. Like I don't know. Like I'm not
either.
Yeah, I do not claim to know animation techniques, specifically anime techniques. But I do think that you are correct. Yes, it's happened with this, but other than Mount Lady, who is skinnier in this than she is in the anime, so it's interesting to see that change in style. Also talking about some of the pacing, I do feel like it's interesting how the way they set up things in the anime, where it does make me want to kind of marathon, but it is nice to feel as if every chapter kind of just closes. Although the first one, I think, the first chapter, because it was 50 pages, was pretty much adapted almost word for word in the anime. But with the manga chapters to anime, pass me that for a second because I want to make sure. Yeah, it feels as if they're, I don't know, like I feel like I have time to breathe here a bit as well. Again, I don't want there to be filler necessarily, but I do feel like there are some just certain things that I could swear word in the anime, certain details, like Deku's mom explicitly apologizing, which I think is something that any kids reading this need to see, like a parent actually being in a vulnerable position. Also, something I like in general is the fact that the mom is aged and she's also heavier too, because that happens to people. Why can't she be heavier? Because it feels as if in certain anime
she's
and
adorable.
manga, yeah, because in certain anime and manga, it feels as if it's like 20 years have passed. She is not a superhuman in any way, although she has a quirk, but that is not her quirk. She looks exactly the same.
A single gray streak in her hair.
Oh, I mean, maybe. That's if she's in her 90s. And so, no, but seriously, no, all jokes aside, though, they do make a shift where, like, you know, what's her name? Recovery Girl. She is an older person. Like, she's a grandma. So, like, yes, they will make her look like a grandma. But it's like, if you're not a grandma, then you only look like Mount Lady, it feels like, in certain anime and manga. So it was nice to see her. And she was actually heavier here, like another person that you were probably thinking of. She was heavier here than in the... Well, I say heavier. Her face was... Actually, no, in general. Yes. Yeah, no, she's heavier here than she is.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah,
yes.
Definitely. She's been thinned down. She's still very round.
Yes.
But she's chunkier there than in the manga. I did notice
that.
In the anime. Yeah.
Even Bakugo looks different, you were telling me as you were reading it. Like, he looks uglier here.
They made him prettier in the anime. No, because, like, it's a lot of people who stand Bakugo, which there are a lot of people. But, like, people always make jokes about, like, we have Manga, who is Gremlin, Dirty Trash Boy.
They made your child beautiful.
And then in the anime, he's beautiful and pretty, and... There are some instances where he does look pretty soft.
He looks like a villain.
I know!
He looks like a villain!
He's so good. I love him. But there's actually one panel in particular where he looked very, very soft that I kind of forgot about. And I think that was when, like, Deku was, like, doing his muttering in the classroom, like, right after, like, he started training with All Might, and everyone's like, oh, this kid is just, he's being, like, so weird or whatever. And then, here's one, where this is, like, right after the incident. He's a little bit softer.
Okay.
He's a little bit softer. Not the one I was talking about, but I just flipped by it. He's a lot softer there.
Yeah, the way his face is drawn.
Yeah, when he's not being a gremlin, he looks really nice, which is not surprising. And then here, he looks very uncaring, like right there. He doesn't look explicitly nasty. So, yeah. But I enjoy seeing his facial features. Just, they make me really happy because he's so nasty.
Yes. This was when he was muttering, but not in a UA classroom.
No,
in a normal
it's
classroom.
after All Might started tutoring him.
Yes, but in a normal classroom with Deku.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I remember, yes, this was in the anime, mentioning that the hair was sour. The hair was sour. Oh, and also showing Endeavor and Best Jeanist. I remember showing them in the anime, but we won't spoil it. They're gonna matter later. So yeah, they're gonna matter later. And but I don't remember Endeavor. I know they did, but for some reason I don't remember Endeavor in showing him in the anime next to Best Jeanist. They did, but they had to have, but I don't remember it. Only because again of the part that he plays later. So Live Mike. And like we mentioned earlier, his references to Super Mario, which again shocked me a lot. Oh, Present Mike, sorry.
Yeah, I was like...
Doesn't he have a move, Live Mike, or something like that?
I don't know. I don't recall that. I just know he's loud.
So since you can't recall, I'm just going to say it on record that he does. And then we'll be proven wrong in the comments. I'll be proven wrong in the comments. You're not standing with me. But no, it is nice to see an accurate adaptation. And also, again, it is nice to see a character who has faults with his powers and is truly learning to grow with them, because I do feel like, I'm not saying that the character, well, there are certain anime manga where the character, like his personality would grow, but he would have all of All Might's powers immediately. And maybe it would be more of a comedy, like, how could he control these wacky powers? Where in this case, it's like, no, he literally breaks his own limbs. And it's something that, again, it's just this... Because I remember hearing online, some people were like, oh, he's too weak.
Boom. My favorite page.
The actual exploding limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I've seen people online talk about, and I think we talked about this on the podcast, the fact that he's too weak. Oh, Deku's too weak, why can't he win something? It's like, bro, he's not Ash. Like, we're not 20 years into this. Did you know that in the latest Sun and Moon arc, he lost at a tournament?
I'm not surprised.
No way!
Not surprised!
Whoa!
He'll never get what he wants!
That's the thing. So it's not like this is an Ash Ketchum thing. Like this... I mean, it's been a few years. I'm not going to say this, like, that started yesterday, but still, like...
So I was also reminded of, like, just now for some strange, bizarre
Technically
reason.
5 years, by the way. This came out in 2014. How
Yes,
crazy
it
is
did.
that? That's
And
nuts. I'm getting into it recently, so...
yeah. So, I mean, I think I would say, like, maybe a year-ish ago, or over a year ago.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. But... either way, so something that I thought was pretty interesting, I think in the anime, they meant, the dub at least, I'm not sure about the sub, I can't recall, they mentioned that, like, this is a story about how Deku becomes the greatest hero.
Which, yeah, that implies that he is number one.
Yeah, or, like, the greatest, the best.
Yeah.
And here, I don't really know where it is, but it doesn't say greatest hero, it says...
I think it's the end of chapter 1.
End of chapter 1. Okay, thank you. It says a great hero, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Because of the first time, yeah, here it is. First time I became a great hero.
Middle of the pack.
Like it's
an I hero.
Like
I'm
not in it for great. I'm in it for number 1. Like.
Hold on.
Bakugo, go away for a second. Like, best boy. I love
Bakugo.
Bakugo.
Oh no, the toy can't hear you. Then you should blame, and by the way, I don't blame him. You should blame Caleb Cook. Caleb Cook is a translator. I know I've heard that name before. I'm pretty sure I've seen that name in other Shonen Jump stuff, not just My Hero. So then blame Caleb Cook for putting Great Hero.
I mean, it's an official publication, so I'm assuming they like.
Yeah, no, they
did that
worked
for a
with,
reason.
Well, no, they worked. Yeah, so it's not even just official publication. With how much, because of how easy it is to contact Japan now than it was in the 90s, they have a huge amount of oversight. So, Great or Greatest Hero, that might have just, like, Japan, either specifically Horikoshi or Shonen Jump in Japan has a different name. They were like, no, it's fine. Greatest. It's okay. And then the anime, that has to go through not just Horikoshi, but I think whoever Funimation legally licensed it from, that's always a whole different thing. So I don't know who owns the anime. I forgot if it was, I think it's Toho? I don't remember. I know they made the movie. But anyway, so because it's weird. Toho would own the rights to it, but it was animated by Studio Bones, I think.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, they animated it, but legally I think it's Toho. Either way, so yeah, I guess if they just don't care, then that's that. And I should mention, the reason why I also feel weird about her there, I told you this off camera. So I was working as a debate coach, can't mention when and where because I don't want to give all that info out, but I was at a tournament, and there was a kid who walked up to me because I was working info booth, and he was holding this volume, and I was like, oh, cool, but like I didn't want to like keep him or whatever. I wanted to be like, because I hadn't read it yet, but I knew obviously what My Hero was, so I was like, oh, that's cool. Like this kid's like, it was a middle school tournament, but he might not have been competing. He might have been someone's younger brother, so he might have been like maybe 10 or maybe under. So
you'd be surprised. I have a lot of kids at the camp I work at that are like, Deku!
No, like, it makes sense. Nothing about the show other than some characters that we can't talk about yet, and of course Mineta. Nothing about it is really like, doesn't work for kids, but it's just like, I saw him holding it like this, like, so it was like looking at it from, you are the person, it was like this. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. Did not see the back. So I didn't see the back. And I only saw it when you were reading it. So you're reading it, and I'm like...
And I'm oblivious. So
so I'm just like...
I'm happily reading, and then there's just apps in the back.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'm reading manga through an app, and I'm just like, okay.
Booty.
The booty. So that confused me, to say the least. What the hell was that?
That's the wind.
But did it open a window?
But windows aren't open. It might have came through the AC. Spooky. I'm just gonna make sure everything is closed.
I'm gonna come with you because if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die with you. So because Tara was so scared, which I was too when that window opened. We have cat butthole. Now, yeah, if you guys are watching, we have Edward, Tara's cat, on the table. And also, Tara got herself chocolate. Because to be fair, what's funny is you said chocolate. I thought you said you wanted a shot. And I was like, that would help you out if you were nervous. So I thought you wanted a shot.
No, chocolate.
Either way, I love this. Oh my God, such a good boy. Anyway, you guys that are listening in, you can't see Edward. But, yeah, I also, and this is something, speaking of, the wind.
Can you lock the door?
Yeah. So, we're dealing with an American haunting in Tara's residence. Talking about some of the editors who worked on this, and I'm talking about the Japanese side of things here, because you have these really cool omake little shorts, or little really character bios with Horikoshi, and he talks about how these characters, where they originally started and where they are now. I could not imagine a manga like this, My Hero Academia, with Bakugo not being this sniveling little shit.
Yeah.
Like, because he would technically still be a sniveling little shit, but I couldn't imagine him being more like Ida.
Wait,
that would be weird.
Can I see the page?
Yeah, sure. That would be so odd if...
And pet him, because he'll get annoyed.
Of course. That would be so odd if, for some reason, Bakugo was like, hey, Deku, you're not doing this appropriately. Like, what? No. Fuck you.
I want to find the exact words, because I like the exact words so much.
Edward has left us. But you found what you were looking for?
Yes. So, excuse me, the chocolate in my mouth was it wasn't working. So he says, at first I made him a natural born genius who would just accidentally insult people without like it's dumb.
That's not an antagonist.
And that got pretty boring, which is very fair.
Yeah.
And then he just turned him into a nasty guy with explosive personality.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he came out so unlikable. Meanwhile, the fandom
No, but
loves him.
yes, but like storyline wise, he needed to be this unlikable because I'm not saying that Ida isn't a good secondary rival. I enjoy that, and I would like that to happen more as the manga goes on because I've liked seeing that somewhat so far as him being a rival to Deku in a different way intellectually, but it couldn't be the only. He couldn't be the only rival because yes, there wouldn't be anything bombastic about it. Like we needed something.
Bombastic.
I know. I didn't even mean to, but it felt right. Yeah, I really enjoyed Bakuro being this way. Like, despite the fact that when I watch the anime and I read this manga and I'm like, I don't like, at least where Bakugo is initially. I don't like that. But it gets me ticked off because it's just too much. It's too, like, linear. But to be fair, they are kids. They're in middle school. But sometimes I feel like people forget that. And it's like, no, they're middle school guys.
Have you met, like, middle school and 15-year-olds?
That's the thing. You know, I think that's what it is. It's weird because, like, as someone who's worked with middle schoolers and high schoolers, I do think that some people don't give them enough credit. But because you also have TV shows that do have, like, 50-year-olds playing high school students, sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, they're either too mature high school students or they're not mature enough. Like, no, they're not. They're not, like, babies, but they're also, at least middle schoolers, are very accurately like this, I would say. So yeah, as someone who, both of us work in education in different ways, seeing these middle schoolers also just feels very real when you actually talk to middle schoolers. Again, they're not babies, they can form sentences like this, but some of their motivations are very, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but they're not fully fleshed out because, again, they're kids.
Yeah, like, I just passed one instance right now, like Uraraka was like, can I please give him one of my points? Like, she's so sweet, like, that's what a kid would do.
Yeah, exactly. Now, yeah, exactly, that's one of the things as well. I'm trying to think of another scene as well that I found funny, or similarly like that. I mean, just when they talk about just generally them talking about their motivations, I think, overall. Again, it's very direct until you get to the teachers. Although I think that Aizawa, I like that he was actually kind of toned down. Because in the anime, he said it one too many times, humans are not created equal. And like, when you do that more than once, it's like, alright dude, like, are you supposed to be kind of villainous? And he's not. So I like that here he kind of seems a bit...
He just looks like a hobo.
He's just a hard ass. He's a hard ass hobo who definitely partakes in too much of the April 20th. It looks like he does. In the anime,
I mean...
not as much here, but in the anime, I'm like, oh. Like, now that we know his quirk, obviously, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I love his name, Eraserhead, because of the movie. I haven't seen the movie, but the movie Eraserhead. You know about the movie Eraserhead?
No. I just thought...
It's not a superhero thing.
I just thought President Mike would just thought of, like, a really dumb name. Like, just so you're aware. So
I'll show you some pieces of it. I haven't seen it myself, but an ex of mine recommended it to me, and I never got to watch it. But I really do want to watch it. It's very interesting. It's like came out in the '80s, but it's black and white, and it's indie. It's interesting. Like, they chose to make it black and white, and it's just very weird, but interesting. I'll show it to you later. It has nothing to do with his quirk. So it's like one of those... It's like how in the anime, certain cities are named after Star Wars locations, but none of it ever comes into play. It's just randomly, this is Tatooine.
And then Naruto's dad was there for like 2 seconds.
No, that's an actual place in Japan, Tara. We talked about that.
But it's not Tokyo. Anyway.
That's an actual place.
Anyway, I will let it go.
Oh, you know what gets me ticked off? And I think your students may actually be doing this, and you need to correct them if they are.
Sure.
They're calling Naruto Boruto's dad. And you need to correct that immediately. Like, they're like, oh, that show with Boruto's dad. You need to correct that. If you see it,
I
if you see
haven't
in the
heard it
classroom.
because
Okay.
I do see like kids like Naruto running, and I'm always like, oh, you're Naruto running. That's funny. And
But that's the issue. If they call it Boruto's dad running, you have to shut that down.
no, I'm just like, no. But
Um,
there's still hope. There's still hope. Don't worry.
I mean, come on. Who didn't Naruto run in middle school, high school, maybe a little bit in the college, a bit too far? I should have done that. Yeah, exactly. I did too.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No, because I just got into this now because I get into everything
That's
late
fair.
because I'm lazy.
Well, actually, it's funny. I didn't get into Naruto. I mean, I also got into this late as well. I usually get into stuff late. When I was a kid, I got into anime, obviously, around the time it came out of the U.S., but after a while, I got into stuff really late. So this, I mean, again, came out in 2014. Just getting into it now, 2019, as we're recording.
5
this.
years later.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard great things about My Hero Academia. But yeah, I never ended up taking a look at it for one reason or another until it was just like, oh, who's into My Hero Academia? And then you just crept out of shadows.
What you say?
What'd you say about the My Hero? Oh, yeah. Either way, though, I'm definitely loving it so far. Again, they're building this world slowly, but in a good way. And Tara's house, if you didn't hear that, guys, I'm pretty sure it's still haunted.
It's the rain on the air conditioner.
Oh, it's raining. Okay, I didn't know it was raining. 'Cause
Yeah.
We actually closed the blinds because we didn't want the ghosts to see us.
Yeah. This page. This right here.
So that's your favorite page.
This
Wow.
is my favorite page.
Okay, so that's my favorite page too, because again, how much work was put into, because again, like, it's not even just this author, like many authors that I'll see, that have to adhere to the Jump schedule, backgrounds don't usually happen as much, but the detail to their faces, it's stunning. And even the background as well, you forget that there's all these heroes in the back and some civilians in the back as well. It was done so well.
And it's so like accurate to the anime. Like as soon as I knew that when I was on this page, I'm like, oh, Baku's face coming next, and then I saw it and I was just like.
Yeah, because it's been a while for you, so you're just like,
yeah,
oh.
But it's still so accurate, and and Deku's like reaction is still accurate, and like I was like, favorite page.
No, I think
surprises Baku.
I think my favorite, honestly, is the shot at the end where they show them in their costumes. I think that's my favorite, simply due to the fact that it was, I don't know, just seeing them in their new costumes in the moment. Also, oh, look who slimmed down in this one shot, Mineta. He lost so much weight out of nowhere.
He's always been scrawny.
There are certain shots where he looks very heavy. Like, well, because they make him so small that he looks like he's fatter. Maybe not in the manga, but in the anime, he's looked heavier. But he looks like...
Oh, so it's actually a good example of Araraka. Like here, she looks proportioned. Like in the anime, I think you compare these two shots, I think her chest is bigger, she has like a more curve, and her butt is bigger.
And she does mention in the manga, to be fair, that she should have specified, the same line about specifying for the suit is in the manga as well. But yes, in the anime, they did do that. They did give her more curves as well, which, to be fair, curves aren't the worst, but you're right about the chest. It's like, you didn't have to.
No, no.
And
then there's Momoyaru's house. I'm not getting into it.
Yeah, we're going to say, not here. We'll talk about that next volume when we talk about that one. But, yeah, I just, like I've been saying over and over, I really enjoy the story. I could ask Tara if you enjoy the story, but that would just be redundant at this point. Obviously you do, but it's... I would say that to anyone who saw this review, knowing that there were spoilers, but who saw this review and thought, should I read the manga? Definitely. You definitely should. Even if you're watching the anime, I would definitely suggest reading the manga. If you don't want to buy it because it's too many volumes, maybe you don't have the cash or general physical space is an issue. This is not a plug. This is not an ad. You can tell from our views, they're not sponsoring us. But the Shonen Jump app does exist, and I really do enjoy it because as someone who really does not have a lot of money, like I really don't, $2 a month is insane. And I can get every single chapter. I haven't read every single chapter, but the fact that I can read every single chapter of My Hero Academia is insane to me. Because this is the thing, so I know you're getting to this recently, but back in my day when I was a wee little. No, because like you know what it is when I was
You're not that much older than
I'm
me.
like 2 years older than you. No, but like when I got into it, I was a kid. Telling me that I could get all the manga, like I'm not all, but a lot of manga from Shonen Jump, I wouldn't know what an app was because I didn't have a phone back then, in the 90s. But still, I had a computer, so on your computer you can get every single chapter. I'd be like, whoa. That's how I sounded. No, but I'd be like, really confused because like, you don't know if that's how I sounded when I was 6.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. When I'm talking about like being like a little kid, like 8, because I got into anime, Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Digimon, real early. So to tell me that you can get all these different episodes through like streaming apps or streaming websites, and then get all these chapters and stuff like that would have been mind blowing to me. So yeah, if you're someone who is like Tara and I, who like I got these first 5 volumes on a discount. But even then, could I get the other? I think it's like 19 or 23. I think it's 23.
I don't pay attention to the volumes. I just pay attention to the
Yes,
chapter
exactly.
one.
That's fair. But I believe there's like 19 or 23. Very weird that I pick either one of those. But either way, but still, there's a lot. So I don't have shelf space. Anyone who's watched videos that have seen the shelves, you know I don't have shelf space. But still though, you should be able to legally read it. So I'm happy that they have it for literally $2, not per volume, per month. That's insanity. But still, either way though. So I hope you guys check it out if you haven't yet. I think our review has sold it. If not, then we'll try harder next time.
Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
The Plus Ultra.
No, clench your butt cheeks and say it with your chest. That's what All Might says.
I'm not clenching nothing.
All right, well, fine. Either way, 3, 2, 1.
Plus Ultra!
See you next time, guys.